This is CBC Late Night News.
Good evening. The Ontario Provincial Police are issuing a warning about the growing problem of meth in our province. It comes as the force busted a major lab north of Belleville this weekend. As Adrian Chung tells us in this CBC News exclusive, the damage caused by illegal drug labs affects everything from communities to the environment.
We're in rural Ontario, about 2 hours east of Toronto, and it's as quiet as it gets. Properties surrounded by trees, not many prying eyes, and that makes it a perfect spot to run an illegal operation, like a major meth lab, a drug that police say is making a major resurgence in Ontario. Hidden inside this quiet country home, an explosive secret stash.
Members of the OPP responded and executed a controlled drugs and substances warrant on what we believe is an active meth lab.
3 suspects have been arrested. Investigators believe the full-scale meth lab is just one piece of a larger ring.
They're making it here solely for profit in a larger quantity.
Now, officers and Health Canada chemists in hazmat suits scour the house, one that's likely soaked in toxic chemicals. What potential chemicals could be in there that you've seen on bus before that make it so dangerous that we can't be inside, that you can't be inside?
There's a lot of dangerous chemicals. The big ones we see are the toluenes, the acetones. There's a lot of dangerous gases that are off products from that cooking process. Red phosphorus that's highly toxic. You can see actually our officers right now bringing out an unknown substance. They'll go in and render the site safe, or as safe as they can.
Trained investigators were able to take cameras inside the home, right into the den of a meth lab. In the basement, police say this is evidence of a meth cook in progress, and they find the final product, a container full of what appears to be crystal meth. Investigators say these shards of meth alone could be worth over $15,000 on the street. Buckets of chemicals and cooking bowls are littered everywhere, along with a sink from where OPP say the meth cooks were dumping dangerous waste right down the drain.
For every pound of finished product, depending on what substance they're making, it can be anywhere of 6 pounds of toxic waste is produced.
More often than not, all of that toxic waste is ending up in our water and soil.
There's a huge environmental factor on this, and community safety, obviously. I'm talking hundreds of pounds worth of toxic waste are just dumped on side roads. That's why we deal with the Ministry of Environment on that in the event that they've been dumping, say, some of the liquid waste into the water table here.
The OPP fear this is just the start, that they're seeing the cheapest meth prices on the street in years, meaning there will be more demand and likely more labs hiding in plain sight in a growing war against meth. Adrian Chung, CBC News, El Dorado, Ontario.
To a legalized drug now. Toronto's second cannabis store is now open for business. Mary welcomed customers in Yorkville today, almost a week after the city's first cannabis shop, the Honey Pot, opened. There were lineups at both stores today. But once the hype dies down, will the demand still be there? Kelda Yoon takes a look at that tonight.
Bruce Pickering has been a cannabis consumer his whole life. He's among the dozen people waiting outside for Mary to officially open its doors.
I've got other sources, but I'd rather buy it legally.
The first customers were let inside after a computer glitch was fixed. Despite the early lineup, there weren't huge crowds throughout the day. Pickering thinks that's important. He believes unless there is quick and easy access,
well, people just go back to the black market. That's what'll happen.
Here at the Honey Pot on Queen Street, which has now been open for almost a week, there's still a pretty long line, as you can see behind me, stretches all the way to the corner, but those that I spoke to say it's been moving pretty fast, and most of them say they don't mind waiting.
Like 5 minutes and already halfway.
Like many here, Mark Snapper and his girlfriend Brenda are first-timers at the Honey Pot, driven by curiosity and trust in the quality, as opposed to the black market where
You don't know the person that's growing it, what chemicals they're using here. It's more of a standardized.
Cannabis expert Jay Rosenthal thinks even more people will stop by the shop once there is more product.
I do think there's some novelty in actually stopping in and buying something. Vape pens and edibles, that's really driving the black market. I think as soon as those things become available in this type of environment, I think you'll see people coming to the legal shop.
But that doesn't mean he thinks the long lineups are here to stay.
So I think that's what is now. I'm not sure that'll last sort of 4 or 5 months, but I think in a number of weeks this will die down when people know when to shop. They have product to last them some while.
James Coylai hopes that's the case. He came here today from Mississauga.
Well, they said 10-15 minutes. I can put up with that, yeah.
As long as it's within like 10-15 minutes, you're okay.
That'd be all right.
Anything more than that, you rethink it.
Probably.
11 of the 25 stores authorized to operate in Ontario on April 1st are currently open. Kelda Yoon, CBC News, Toronto.
A man has died after being shot behind a rec center in Pickering just moments before a hockey tournament was set to begin. It happened around 6:30 this morning near Kingston and Brock Roads. The man was found in an empty parking lot. Paramedics rushed him to hospital, but he died in the ambulance. Investigators are now looking for multiple suspects who fled the area. They're also trying to identify the victim. The hockey tournament proceeded as planned, with players having to enter the front of the building so as not to interfere with the crime scene.
It is concerning for anybody in law enforcement that this happens at any time of the day. But yes, it's in front of a rec center or behind a rec center at 6:30 in the morning. It is concerning.
What info, if any, does...
In Ottawa, a man is facing charges after allegedly killing his mother. Abigail Otova was found in medical distress inside a home on Joliet Avenue last night. Paramedics took her to hospital where she later died. Her son, Jed Otova, was arrested this morning. Police are now waiting on the results of a post-mortem to determine the cause of death. It is the second homicide on that street this year.
Yeah, when I heard that, it was scary. When they mentioned Abigail.
It's concerning because I've been here a long time, like I grew up in this neighborhood, so.
It's kind of scary too, but yeah, it is concerning. You speak French?
The province's police watchdog has been called in after Toronto police shot an 18-year-old man. It happened while police were carrying out a search warrant in Etobicoke. They arrived at a fifth-floor apartment on Sherway Gardens Road around 6 this morning. When they entered the unit, an altercation took place, and the man was shot in the arm. The Special Investigations Unit is now investigating. That's the agency that looks into police incidents that have resulted in death, serious injury, or allegations of sexual assault. A woman is fighting for her life tonight after being hit by a car in Scarborough. It happened in the area of Port Union and Lawrence around 1:30 this afternoon. The woman was taken to hospital with serious injuries. Her condition was later downgraded to critical. The driver remained at the scene of the collision and is cooperating with police. Well, it's time now to get our first look at the weather with Sophia, and forecast delivered today. Just nice temperatures on a Sunday.
And wait till you see what tomorrow has to bring. It's a really important milestone, actually, folks. A one-day warm-up. Yes, it'll be short-lived, but we're bringing out the fireworks for this one because it could be the warmest day since early November. Over 5 months since the city of Toronto has seen above 16-degree warmth. Short-lived, though, will be the story, but let's bask in this for a minute, shall we? Upper teens for those of you around the GTA. Some in southwestern Ontario could certainly eke out 20-degree warmth, which will be really nice. It'll come after the showers that we're already seeing push around the GTA right now. Not much, about 5 millimeters, and really we don't cool down too much into the overnight period at all. We continue tapping into this really nice southerly, westerly flow, and then back down to seasonal for Tuesday. Wednesday even cooler, the chance of more little short-lived passing showers. And then coming up, we will talk a little bit more and dive into why for 3 degrees on Thursday with the chance of some wet snow and mixing. Enjoy Monday, though. Can you work from home? That is the question.
Yes, that's always a good idea if you can. Thanks, Sophia.
You're welcome.
Today is the inaugural Green Shirt Day to inspire organ donor awareness. The day itself was inspired by one of the Humboldt Broncos.
Register and most importantly, talk to your family, have that conversation.
That was the mother of Logan Boulay. Green Shirt Day is part of her son's legacy. Boulay was 21 when the bus crashed. He suffered a severe brain injury. The summer before, Logan Boulay had told his father he wanted to be an organ donor. When he died on April 7th, his organs were donated. That led to what was termed the Logan Boulay effect, in which thousands of Canadians registered to donate organs.
One life saves 8 people. I got 7 more years of love with my parents, 7 more birthdays. I met the love of my life. I got a house, I got a job, I got dogs. So it's all because of this organ donation. It's so important.
That movement resonating right across the country, including here in Toronto. This group gathered for an informal meetup today at Nathan Phillips Square to raise awareness for the cause. And here's a live look at the CN Tower in Toronto, which is also lit green tonight for Green Shirt Day. More news as CBC Late Night News continues after the break. Canadian health officials are trying to track down what's behind a widespread salmonella outbreak. It's hit 6 provinces, including Ontario, making at least 63 people sick and sending 18 to hospital. It's being investigated in 2 deaths, underlining how serious salmonella can become. CBC's Talia Ricci reports on the search for the source.
Health officials haven't yet identified a source, but there are some clues. Experts say it's likely not produce or eggs because the cases are so widespread.
Probably a long shelf life product, so because it can be distributed over a wide area. It's potentially something that's very common, like a frozen chicken product.
Or it could be something we don't typically associate with foodborne illnesses, like pet food. Our expert says salmonella can be transferred just by handling the food.
They are speaking to sick individuals, trying to get them to remember the foods that they've consumed, where they purchased those foods, and then they're trying to look for patterns between all of the sick individuals.
But that won't be easy. This outbreak started last November and people are still getting sick. Do you remember what you ate months ago? But if they can zero in on a source, a hypothesis develops, finally leading to a product they can test.
If they find the same salmonella in that product, then they've got what we call a smoking gun.
You'll start to feel symptoms anywhere from 6 hours to 72 hours after exposure. They include fever, nausea, and diarrhea. The most vulnerable people are infants, children, seniors, and people with compromised immune systems. Health Canada recommends washing your hands before and after preparing food. Make sure meat, fish, and eggs are fully cooked. And don't eat raw cookie dough. Flour can be a carrier.
The symptoms of salmonella infection usually last for 4 to 7 days, and most healthy people don't require treatment. But if you think you have it, Health Canada says to contact your doctor. Talia Ricci, CBC News, Toronto.
Another twist in the ongoing SNC-Lavalin affair. The Prime Minister is threatening to sue opposition leader Andrew Scheer. The Conservative leader released a letter warning of a libel suit over allegations Scheer made about Justin Trudeau's conduct. Today in Ottawa, he shot back with a message of his own to Trudeau. Bring it on.
I look forward to Mr. Trudeau presenting his evidence to Canadians under oath in open court. And based on what I hear, I'm certain Canadians will welcome this as well.
Scheer says the letter is an attempt by the Prime Minister to bully and to silence the opposition. And we also heard from the Prime Minister's office. It released a statement after Scheer's news conference. It says today's revelation by the leader of the opposition is another attempt to talk about anything other than his own policies. British Prime Minister Theresa May now says without opposition Labour Party support, she will not be able to pass a Brexit deal. Negotiations with Labour began this past week but have stalled. Conservative Party hardliners have thwarted 3 attempts to pass a compromise in Parliament. That leaves Britain with a worst-case scenario looming. Foreign governments are pulling their staff out of Libya's capital in the face of intense fighting for the city. Rebels are trying to seize control of Tripoli from the UN-backed government. The fighters, who are loyal to a rival government in eastern Libya, launched the surprise offensive last week. They say they've already taken the capital's airport, and today they took the fight to a new level, launching their first airstrikes. At least 35 people have died in 4 days of fighting, including civilians. Rwanda began a week-long memorial today marking 25 years since the 1994 genocide, a wave of ethnic violence that saw 800,000 people killed. Today began with a wreath laying presided over by President Paul Kagame. He led a rebel force that ultimately seized power and ended the slaughter. He said Rwandans are far better than they were, but they should never succumb to complacency. Closer to home, another ceremony to mark the scars of history. Families gathering near the old City Hall cenotaph to observe the 102nd anniversary of the Battle of Vimy Ridge.
We will never finish. Our mission will never stop. And in our world now, we want people to be committed to that mission to fight now for peace.
It always turns out to be a little more emotional than I think it will be. It is just so wonderful to see all these people out on a crisp, windy day who are, and they will talk to their friends. The young people, I'm sure, will tell their friends about it. And that's so important that even though it's 102 years ago, the memory is not forgotten. And when you do go to France and you can't drive a mile and you don't see a cemetery and all these crosses.
A live look at Parliament Hill in Ottawa tonight. For most parts of the province, feels like winter is becoming a distant memory. But will the warm weather last? Your extended forecast is coming up after the break. As the Toronto Raptors gear up for the playoffs, team president Masai Ujiri is feeling pretty confident.
We feel good. Can't feel any better. Knock wood. We'll go try to get them.
The Raptors needed overtime, though, today to win against the Miami Heat. The final score, 117-109. The team plays the Minnesota Timberwolves on Tuesday, their last regular season game. The playoffs kick off next weekend. A group of volunteers spent their day in the Lower Don Valley today, training to safely clean up and revitalize one of the most neglected, trash-filled ravines in the area.
Each group has a leader, a team lead who knows how to navigate around these areas. Also make sure that the ravines are too overcrowded or that people are doing dangerous things like coming too close to the water or on dangerous ridges.
Makes your heart. The organization behind the effort is called Don't Mess with the Don. During their cleanups, volunteers and team leaders say they find everything from household waste to single-use plastics like candy wrappers or plastic bags.
Too much garbage. There's way too much garbage. I was so overwhelmed. I had no idea that there'd be so much garbage just sort of everywhere. It's like almost out of a scene out of a set, It's unbelievable that we don't know that there's so much garbage right in our backyard.
Aside from picking up trash, the team also focuses on addressing the root causes of the littering. The group hopes to convince the city to allocate more funding to cleaning up these areas in the future. The volunteers will put their training to use on April 27th at a big cleanup in the Lower Don Ravine. Okay, we're enjoying this while it lasts, and it sounds like it's going to end soon, Sophia.
Oh, let's just savor Monday. If you don't have to be in an office for much of the day. Here's what's going on right now. We're already watching showers push in across the GTA. It's a good thing, though, folks. It's enough warm energy with these light showers that are pushing across throughout the overnight period that we've actually seen some thunderstorms over Lake Erie, some lightning strikes, spring-like weather. It's here. It'll be gone by the time you head out to your Monday morning commute. You might have some fog or some drizzle, though, for your drive-in, and then the clouds clear into the early afternoon, and that's when we reach this balmy and beautiful high. Upper teens right across the GTA. It will be lovely. It will be short-lived. If you can take a road trip to southwestern Ontario where they might hit 20 degrees, it will be the warmest potentially that we have seen in over 5 months since fall of 2018. And then the next few days of the work week steadily drop down to quite a bit below the seasonal mark. We should be about 10 degrees this time of year. We have the chance for showers for the next couple days as well, just light. And then Thursday, we're about 7 degrees below seasonal with the chance for some flurries and some mixing in advance of the next Colorado low that will mean kind of a wet day on Friday. But you'll be happy for the rain, I think, in some form of the word, because it will warm things up substantially. Back again above a double-digit mark and then clearing out, hopefully, by the time we get into the weekend. But really, this April is shaping up, and with the long-range pattern, it looks to shape up a lot like the April of the last 2 years, which was a back-and-forth roller coaster filled with wintry weather shots as well. Reminder, we keep our warmth into the overnight with the showers and then enjoy a balmy 16 potentially for your Monday afternoon high.
Great start to the week. Thanks, Sophia. Finally for us tonight, Canadian astronaut David Saint-Jacques is gearing up for his upcoming spacewalk tomorrow. He joins a rare group of Canadian astronauts who performed that task. Former astronaut Dr. Dave Williams has the record for most spacewalks performed by a Canadian, and he spoke with the current Canadian in space this weekend.
You're going out into the extreme harsh vacuum of space, traveling 25 times the speed of sound. That's 8 kilometers every second. The temperatures range from minus 100 degrees Celsius to over 100 degrees Celsius. So it's a pretty harsh, extreme environment. I spoke to David yesterday. He called me from the space station. We had a fantastic opportunity to chat about the upcoming spacewalk tomorrow. So he's really excited. They're ready to go. But right now, the crew is focused on going over, rehearsing all the various procedures they're going to perform tomorrow. I'm really excited David's going to get a chance to do a spacewalk, because now we'll have 4 Canadians that'll have done spacewalks, but I'd love to be up there with them and love to get a chance to go outside and do it again.
Showing some Canadian pride. And that's our show for you tonight. Thanks for watching. You can stay caught up on news anytime on our website, cbcnews.ca. Have a great night, everyone.